Welcome to the Adult Potato. Thank you for your patience with the delay in this episode. It's been rewritten a couple times now due to new information being presented. That information was important enough to delay publishing the episode to get it included. When you're dealing with an election where someone will be on the board for 4 years, if the ballots are out, you have one chance to reach the voters. And this is it. I have to give it to you guys, you are persistent. We did not want to do an episode on Mario because it just wasn't worth our time and energy. But you guys wouldn't leave it alone. And we want to sincerely thank all of the concerned citizens of Wellington that contributed to this episode. More than a dozen of you provided information for this episode, and it 100% would not have happened if you all hadn't pushed us to the point that we could no longer say no. Thank you. Truly thank you all. Let's dive in. First off, let's start with the easy stuff. It appears that Mario either doesn't understand or doesn't care that under the Internal Revenue Code, all 501c3 organizations are absolutely prohibited from directly or indirectly participating in or intervening in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for elective public office. As you can see, all you need is a simple Google search and the IRS rules pop right up. And here you can see the 501c3 filing for the Wellington filling station. And here you see Mario's campaign signs firmly planted in front of a 501c3 organization. And I'm sure that's not public land, because if it was, that would be against the town's campaign sign ordinance. Oh, and here's a picture of the event that the filling station held at the filling station for candidate Mario just before the T-Bar Forum, a direct violation of the IRS ordinance. And if this bothers you, you can fill out this form from the IRS, Form 13909, along with a screen grab of the photos. You know what they say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Yes, 501c3 organizations may engage in nonpartisan campaign activities, primarily consisting of voter education. Thus, they may organize and coordinate nonpartisan get-out-the-vote and voter registration drives, sponsor nonpartisan candidate debates or forums, so long as all legally qualified candidates are invited to appear and a wide spectrum of issues are covered. And no, 501c3 organizations cannot participate in or intervene in, including the publishing or distributing of statements, any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office. Mario's campaign has put Wellington Filling Station in a potentially problematic situation. As a candidate, Mario should have known this. Next on the list, you're going to want to stay until the end for the big finish. But next on the list are statements from individuals that will remain anonymous. And these statements will be more meaningful as we spell a few things out for you. So hold your judgment on these for a few minutes. We have had these statements for a good month, but didn't have enough to really warrant doing a story with them. Don't want to believe them? That's fine. But we're leaving them anonymous because of the threatening behavior that he exhibited, and do not want to put these people in harm's way. First off, so I have witnessed this man verbally assault people in our community. Honestly, I find him frightening and unhinged. Next up, I have concerns that he does not have the temperament to be a trustee. My experience with him was extremely unpleasant, and his own attitude was that he doesn't have to follow any rules, and that he didn't intend to follow rules. And if you asked him to follow rules, he became belligerent and abusive. And I don't think that is appropriate behavior for a trustee who will have fiduciary duty to all of his constituents and all of the rules, not just the ones he chooses to follow for himself. And finally, he happened to sit in front of me at a trustee meeting. When the board wasn't in lockstep with John and started to vote opposite of him, Mario said just loud enough for those near him to hear, "Bunch of fucking snakes." His displeasure from having campaigned for 4 of them was evident. How exactly does that statement lend itself to board unity? It's his campaign battle cry, but it's apparent that he's just using political catchphrases that people want to hear. Do as I say, not as I do. Call for unity in one breath while calling trustees fucking snakes in another. To some of you, you've never seen this type of behavior from him. But for others, they know this behavior well, especially when he's been drinking. And before you start victim blaming, keep watching because we're going to give you some reasons to believe these statements in the next couple minutes. Also, in the interest of the transparency that Mario speaks so longingly for, we present some public records. All the information moving forward is public record. Feel free to do your own research on this. According to this public record, on June 11, 2023, Mario Quinones was arrested for 42-413-0011-A, driving under the influence of alcohol in Platteville. Unless there's another Mario Quinones born on November 4th, this would be Wellington's trustee candidate. Pro tip: don't put your date of birth on your public Facebook profile if you have anything to hide. His sentencing is April 5th at 9:30 in Weld County. Perhaps this DUI lends some credence to the statements provided about his character. But since there have been other similar experiences in the last several months that aren't being included to protect the identity of the other party, it doesn't appear that he's learned anything from this. In addition to the DUI in Weld County, case number 15-15046 in Tarrant County, Texas, is for the offense of assault causes bodily injury family violence. Tarrant County put this under their diversion program. The Domestic Violence Diversion Program, which targets domestic violence, or violence between intimate partners. Selected defendants charged with family violence in Tarrant County are placed into the pre-trial diversion court, which monitors the defendant's progress in a non-adversarial manner and is in lieu of traditional case processing. Defendants are selected for program participation after undergoing a comprehensive screening and assessment process and meeting the following eligibility criteria: partner-on-partner violence, no current or prior violations of protective orders, no stalking activity, no open warrants, no other pending charges, no prior history of diversion, commitment to completing a prescribed program, and consent of victim for offender participation. This court is unique because it combines the judicial function with case management, victim assistance, and an assessment process. The project includes services specifically dedicated to preventing, identifying, and responding to violent crimes as they relate to domestic violence. The setting's date for that offense was December 21st, 2018. And the statements we provided earlier show that not much has changed. Here are some additional arrests since then that back it up. May 4, 2020, case number AJ036313, arrest, booking number 22-05156. Holding for agency, Westminster Police Department, July 16, 2020, arrest, description, PD Westminster FTC Criminal Mischief, So Larimer County Arrest Report, July 22, 2020. Case number D00012020CR000241. Arrest. CO. Adams County Sheriff's Office. Booking number 22006972. Bond amount $1,500 holding. For agency, Adams County Sheriff's Office. And finally, we have serious concerns when it comes to the business experience that he says he could bring to the board, especially when it comes to the budget. Mario filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy in 2018. Unfortunately, that bankruptcy was dismissed. And what does it mean when a bankruptcy is dismissed? If a debtor fails to keep up with payments under their repayment plan in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, the bankruptcy trustee may file a motion to dismiss their case. This means that their debts would not be discharged because the case would be considered unsuccessful. On top of that, under the Amarillo, Texas warrant list, there are 2 outstanding warrants that remain unpaid, one for $374 and one for $245. Is this the type of experience that Mario brings to help review our budget? A Chapter 13. Bankruptcy that had to be dismissed? How important is the character of the people that we vote into the position of trustee to represent Wellington? One that is reportedly belligerent and doesn't feel that rules apply to him. What type of liability might that type of person put the town in? What if he gets sentenced to jail time at his court date in April? Do we wait to swear him in until after he serves his time and not pass things if the vote is tied without him? What exactly does Mario bring to the table, other than a lot of legal baggage, questionable life choices, and a bad attitude? What he brings is that yes vote for Gator. That's all he's got. If you listen to the League of Women Voters Forum, You'll realize pretty quickly that he doesn't have a fraction of the knowledge or experience that the other candidates have. And we don't need more trustees whose only experience was in CAC. That didn't translate over very well to the role of legislation. Let's learn from the mistakes a couple years ago and put knowledgeable people on the board that are ready to legislate on day one. What this comes down to is that we have 4 qualified candidates that we can vote for, and then we have Mario. There is no reason to vote for this man. His record shows a history of bad choices in addition to a bad attitude. Serve on a board that will help train you to be a knowledgeable candidate for trustee. Get a couple sober years under your belt. It hasn't even been a year since your arrest and you're going for sentencing next month. Wellington deserves better than this candidate and has better choices. Some of you will vote for him and that's your choice. But for the majority of the town who does not know Mario, these public records give you a look into the character of the man. We all make mistakes, and we can learn from them. Mario needs that time to learn. This is not his time. And now that the ballots have gone out, we ask you to go to your mailbox. Get your ballot out. Mark your choices of Lowry Moyer, Rebecca Daly, and Ed Cannon. Deliver the ballot to either the drop box at the Leaper Center or the utility drop box. 3 out of 10 residents chose the direction of this town in the last municipal election. Our voter turnout was an embarrassing 29%. The ballot is in your mailbox. Fill it out and drop it off. The direction of this town is worth a few minutes of your time. Thanks for watching and, again, thank you all for contributing to this episode. This episode could not have been made without your input. You made it known that your voices needed to be heard, and we listened. This was why the Adult Potato was created, and we are humbled by your participation. Also, lock your doors. There are some bad people in this town,